with men. So what is this screening? So this screening will be, why are you here? Question like that. So they will give you the question to answer. Why are you here? What did you see? So you need to tell the soldiers, you need to make them to believe why you are on the border, why you want to cross to their country. So that's what the screening involves. And then they're going to check your luggages if you have any weapon as well. So if you don't have any weapon or knife, then you'll be free to go with your family. So after this screening, we cross to the next a little village called Botoy. So that's where we cross that night. Before I know it, we are already to the next morning. But that village, when you are in that village, you only have the soldiers, the Guinean soldiers, to protect you guys, the citizen, and themselves. So you do not have the UN who will be able to take care of you, to take you in. So typically when you are in that village, you are still not safe. Okay, so if you are eating, if you are warm, if you are safe, if you are sick, all of that burden, all of that struggle still on your back. It hasn't finished. So again, they will not allow you to leave that little village to go to the next village, which will be the transit, the first transit. Okay. So why the reason of that is they will not just see a couple of people, a handful of people, and they believe that yes, there is a war. So they have to sit and wait and see how many people come in. So personally, when the number of people who come in reach to 1,000, like 10,000, then that's when they believe that okay, this first village can no longer hold you people because it's getting overcrowded and no one is safe. So you can go to the next transit. You can go to the area where you will see UN. So which was again another distance. So that distance maybe it's a full day or walking distance for my age. So I have my grandparents at that time. May their soul rest in peace. My grandparents, they were very old at the time. They were not young compared to during the First and the Second World. So this Third World, they was very old and sick as well. So our journey was not just in a rush because of them. So we have to walk with them. So I think it took us like the whole day, from Botoy to Beta. So when we went to Beta was kind of like the first transit for us, as I remember. So I remember spending, I think, a couple of a week, if not 1 or 2 weeks, there in the first transit. But what were we surviving on? That is the question. Here comes the real question, being a refugee camp. What do you do to survive? Okay, guys. So when they built this shelter for us to stay there in a shed, they also built another big shelter again. So in this shelter is where they're going to employ Guineans, young, able-bodied Guineans who know how to cook, who can go on a farm and bring wood, and anything that they'll be able to provide just to give us hot meals. So the UN going to employ those handful of people. Okay, so what we do in that area or during that time was basically in the morning around 6-7 o'clock. So every family here, not everybody go. So they will give you this a rubber bowl, dishes, one big dish pan with a spoon. So what are you going to do with that dish pan in the morning? So in the morning you will go to the shelter. So the second shelter is basically for them to be able to cook breakfast and lunch. So what do we have for breakfast and lunch during all of this time? We have cornmeal. So they will cook cornmeal with a little bit of salt, a little bit of oil, and a little bit of sugar. So every morning during the course of the 2 weeks period, your parents, either your mom or dad, will go in the queue to receive the cooked porridge. It's in the form of porridge, but it's cornmeal. So they use cornmeal to cook as a porridge. So your mom and dad will go and collect the breakfast, cook cornmeal, and bring it to the shelter where everyone is sitting down. So they will give you also mat, the refugees mat. So they give you maybe one square little mat just for you to sit on. So mom or dad will bring that breakfast, and then everybody will kind of take the spoon and then blow it out, make it cool, and then we'll eat. Okay, but by the evening, again, you will go, the same process will continue in the evening. Mom or dad will go in the queue, and the queue takes a lot of times because we were over maybe 60,000 or 30,000 at that time people. So you can imagine you have to be in a queue. That is the first thing to prioritize on the refugees camp, because you don't want you to go hungry or your children to go hungry, because remember, in the refugees camp, in this transit, we don't have any hospital. So our survival, or our means of surviving is through what? Through breakfast. You don't want to go hungry so that you can faint or do any other thing or get sick. So you only eat that breakfast and drink water so that you can stay, hydrolyzed or something until the next meal or until you go to the next stage. So after morning breakfast, what is you going to prioritize again? Making sure that your children are safe, because it's become a dangerous zone. You don't know anybody, you don't know everybody, you don't know who is who. So you're making sure that your eyes is on your children at all times become your priorities. So again, after that, your children are safe. They will again open another, they will build another gazebo, they'll build a few gazebos in between those around that shelter area where we have 3 or 6 30,000 people. They will build a shed again. So that shed, every refugee's mom or dad, what is this first transit supply you? What is this first transit welcome you at? So in this first transit, you will see the UN. When you see the UN, everybody will go in the one area. So guys, again, that's life. I never ever wish that life on any country. It's not an easy life. This is why this journey for me is very important for me, because we went through all of that. Okay, we went through all of that, and I'm sitting here today in Australia. It got to be God. This is why my testimony is very, very interesting. It's very, very important for me to share, because it's not just about me. It is about what God has done for me, and there is no way that I can say Him thank you enough, but rather come here and share with 1 or 2 people, which is my audience. So what happened now in the first transit was, they have a shelter, they built a shelter, but this shelter is not like a house. It's just like so they built this massive shelter, okay? So there is no just a roof, they built a roof, just a roof. So it's only there, that this shelter is only there to provide shed and to protect you from rain if there is a rain. But it doesn't protect you from mosquitoes, it doesn't protect you from cold, it doesn't protect you from anything. But again, when you are in this shelter, you kind of think that you have found a little piece of ground that you can sit on, that somebody has finally come to your rescue. Okay, so it gave you this peace of mind that before I run, somebody will be able to send for me. Before I go somewhere, someone will be able to help me. Okay, so we were there. While we were there, we have, we have no food, we have no means of helping ourselves in any way, guys. Okay, so, but what the UN does was, first of all, they will distribute a dry biscuit to each and every family, just to have something to eat. And then they will run a water pipes everywhere so that we can drink and eat those biscuits. Because again, in the transit, you got to do another screening. So this screening is what will give you the status of being a refugee or becoming a refugee. So if you don't have this status, you have nothing. So you got to stay in this transit and get your attestation, your status as a refugee before you can move on to the next transit. So this first transit is very, very important. Even though you are going hungry, you have no means. You just have to hope and hope that you get that paper in your hand before you can finally declare that you are safe and you can receive whatever benefit that everyone should